And so because I'm panicking, and this is a story of grief. But next. Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. Also welcome to a brand new book haul video. This is my first book haul of 2024, and in this book haul video I'll be talking to you about all the books that I got or bought since the last book haul, which was I think in December 2023. I want to say I'm proud, but I don't think that's the right word, because there are 27 books in here, and to get 27 books in 3 months is a bit of a stretch, but not as much as some of my earlier book haul videos. And because there are so many books in this haul itself, and it's like my TBR is building in on itself, so I've decided to go on a book buying ban. I do want to say that I'm going on an absolute book buying ban in which I will not buy anything for the next 3 months or 6 months or anything, but I know myself too well to do that. I know that I will be pulled in somehow, I will be tempted, and I will give in to that temptation. So instead of that, I'm going on a special kind of book ban, which is a sort of a book ban on an incentive basis. So basically how this will work is, if I want to buy one book, then I have to read 5 books from my TBR. My TBR currently is 477 books strong. So there's going to be quite a bit of work to be done before I can buy any books. And these books, the books that I have to read in order to be able to buy another book, do not include books from the library, do not include books that are borrowed or review copies for that matter. Those are a different matter altogether. So these books have to be from my main TBR list, and I'm hoping that at least in this way I'll be able to make a dent in my big ass TBR, which, as you know, has been a dream of mine for a while. I wish I were exaggerating, but I'm not. 477 on a TBR should tell you how out of control my TBR has become. So that's the long introduction to this video, to this book haul, as well as to my plans of what I intend to do after I show you the books on this book haul. Since there are so many books on this book haul, I mean, I have read quite a few of these books for which I am really proud of, but since there are so many books, without any further ado, let's dive right into this video, into this book haul video, into my first book haul of 2024, and share with you all the books that I got or bought since my last book haul. First up are 2 books that I bought for a readathon in January. It was called Literary Hanami for January in Japan, being hosted by 2 of my favorite bookstagrammers. I mean, I've spoken about this so many times, it just comes naturally to me at this point. The first of which was What You Are Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Aoyama, and translated into English from the Japanese by Alison Watts. And this is a story of 5 different people. 5 different threads are in this story. They don't know what it is they're looking for. Their lives are all not in a place that they want them to be. So they find themselves in the local library, and there, with the help of the all-knowing librarian, it feels like, who with just one question, what are you looking for, seems to know exactly what it is they are looking for through the answers. So how their lives follow, how their lives change, the contrast between the beginning of their stories and the end of it, it's just brilliant. This is one of my favorite books of 2024. It's warm, it's wholesome, it's lovely, and I just love it. I have done a full video review for this book here on the channel. If you'd like to go check that out, link will be here as well as in the description box below. And the second is this one, Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. This was translated into English from the Japanese by Megan Backus. And this is the story of grief, of hope, of picking oneself up after experiencing a profound loss. And this is told in 2 stories. It talks about grief, but it talks about transsexuality, it talks about bereavement, it's a story about a mother and son, it's a story about unrequited love, it's a story about a love that cannot seem to get the timing right. There's so much in this book that will resonate with you, even if you are not exactly dealing with these things in your life. but you will find it to be poignant, beautifully written, worth the effort that you put into reading it. And then were 5 books that I bought for the Valentine's Day reading vlog, but I have since only managed to read 4 of them. The one that I did not read, that I was not able to read, is The Burnout by Sophie Kinsella. Sophie Kinsella is one of my favorite authors of all time. She's funny, she knows, how to make her characters so embarrassing, but they are also so confident in what they do. So I was a little disappointed that I was not able to read this. This is like about a burnout. This is about Sasha, who is well and truly over it all. Work, all-consuming, friendships on the back burner, sex life non-existent. Sasha has hit a brick wall. I'm assuming this story is about how she overcomes that burnout. So I'm going to put it at that because I love going into Sophie Kinsella books without knowing much about them. I mean, I do get very frustrated at the characters. They are like, I just want to knock them in the head sometimes. But the payoff is brilliant and I absolutely love her. So I wish I had read this, but soon. And next are 2 books from the same series. The first is Icebreaker and the second is Wildfire. These are part of the Maple Hill series by Hannah Grace, and these are so funny, so fast-paced, so gripping, and just so steamy. Icebreaker became like, I loved it. I raved over it. I was like head over heels in love with it because its humor was what attracted me the most. But I feel like even if these 2 books don't have that much of a plot line throughout, there is this quality to it that keeps you invested, and I love both of them. I mean, if you do not like steamy romances or if you are a minor, please do not pick these books up. Please do not, absolutely not, please. If you do that, these books will scar you. Next came Checkmate by Ali Hazelwood. This is a story of Mallory Greenleaf, who used to love chess, but she gives up chess. But one day she gets talked into going to this like free-for-all chess tournament kind of thing, and there she happens to meet and beat the reigning chess champion Nolan Sawyer. The love for chess is returning. She can feel those memories coming back at her, but she is determined not to. But they need the money, and when the promise of cash prizes and doing this for a living comes to her, and Nolan Sawyer also wanting to cross paths with her again and play her again, things are about to change. And I really enjoyed this. This is sweet, it was cute, it was very fast-paced, gripping. It was very nice. It reminded me why I like Ali Hazelwood's writing. I had only read Love Hypothesis before, but this one has me like wanting to read more from Ali Hazelwood. And the last in that set was The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. You know I love a Christina Lauren book, and this one was not at the best level, but it was really good. I really enjoyed it. This is about Jess, who is a freelance statistician, and she and her best friend Fizzy, they sit in a coffee shop every morning and work. That's where they work. There they see a man come in every morning at the exact same time and order always an Americano. So they have named him Americano. Now this fellow is the founder of a company called Genetic Alley or Genetically, the play on the words and all of that. But that company focuses on bringing people together based on their genes. It's not eugenics. I swear it's not eugenics, I promise. It's like they do compatibility scores. So Fizzy gets all excited, but Jess is like, she's given up on men and she's given up on the whole dating scene. But Fizzy is like, what do you have to lose? And she takes her there. They give the samples and everything. Jess has a huge compatibility score with none other than Americano, who is River Pena. His name is River Pena. Now the company is like, see, we'll give you money to see if this compatibility actually works. Jess is persuaded. Now they go to public events as a couple. They move around together. They spend more time together. What's about to happen? Are they about to find out whether fate is real or fate is what you make it out to be? Forms this entire story. And I loved it. I really enjoyed it. The only thing is that Jess and River might be a little as characters, but the whole story and their chemistry makes up for it. I think I spent way more on this book, talking about this book for this video, because there's already a full vlog where I've spoken about it in detail. I don't know why I do this, but if you'd like to go watch that instead, I will leave the link here as well as in the description box below. Next was a review copy, which was Total Heresy by Yashesh Rathod. This is a collection of the author's thoughts and a sort of a sequel, an improved sequel or an improved version of his earlier book Heresy. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed going through the author's thoughts about where he thinks the world is, where it is heading, what we should do in order to make it a better place and like. I've also done a full video review for this book. If you'd like to go check it out, link will be here as well as in the description box below. Next was A Woman Is No Man by Etta Frum. This is the Kindle edition that I got. I have a physical copy of this back at home in India. I read this in February and I absolutely loved it. My heart broke and I was so infuriated with what I read over there, especially when it is coupled with what is happening in Palestine. And this is a story told in two timelines. This is told one from Isra's perspective, who is the mother, and the second is Dea's perspective, who is the daughter. Isra in 1990 is married off and is sent to America, so now she has to deal with the change in her home as well as the change in her community, because she is now in a country that nothing is familiar. She's not familiar with anything. Dea is also being forced to get married because Farida, who is Dea's grandmother from her father's side, she thinks that that is what a woman needs to do. That's a woman's duty because she is no man. A woman can't expect to get more done other than cooking, cleaning, taking care of the house, taking care of her husband, taking care of his children. That is what a woman's duty is limited to in her eyes. So now when someone from Dea's past, and their whole past comes into their lives with a truth, how is Dea's life going to change? Forms this part of the story. It was heartbreaking, it was gut-wrenching, and there were so many times that I cried out of frustration at not being able to do something, and also the knowledge that there are people in the world, not just in Palestinian culture, but because Indian culture is also similar to a large extent in the way that many groups of people in both cultures treat women. There will be many people who come and say that things are changing. Yes, things are changing. I acknowledge that, and I am very privileged to be in that position, to be at the receiving end of that change. My heart breaks for those people who aren't benefited by that yet. So we have a long way to go. Just because we have come this way doesn't mean that the way isn't long yet. So to see Isra and Dea's situations, both grappling with personal issues as well as the issue of the community, of their mothers and fathers talking about the occupation and what they went through in those camps and how they escaped them. Oh, it's a lot. And after this book, Etta Frum has become an auto-buy author for me. Anything she writes, I'm here, I'm going to read it. The next set of books, I'm so annoyed at, you'll see why I'm annoyed at them, is the Thursday Murder Club series by Richard Osman. Can you tell why I'm annoyed at this series? What is this? Huh? Okay, you wanted to go big. Why not make these also big or make this small? No. I get so annoyed when books aren't the same size of the same series. This is a series that I've had my eye on for so long, and I'm so excited to have these books in my hand. I just wish the size was a little bit more uniform. I know the relevant people won't be watching this video, but come on, man. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't have anything else to say about it in any way, because they are murder mysteries. What else can I say about that? Oh, I didn't tell you what these books were, did I? So the first book is The Thursday Murder Club. The second is The Man Who Died Twice. Third is The Bullet That Missed. Fourth is The Last Devil to Die. Next is a very, very strange book, you could call it, but it's also very interesting to me. I don't know if I will be able to solve this, but I wanted to have the chance to do that. Okay, so that is Skas Job by Torquemada. That is Edward Powys Mathers. Okay, this is a murder mystery as well as a literary puzzle. This book has pages that you can cut and you have to arrange and form it into the right story, into the correct story, into one that makes sense. Apparently only 3 people in the whole world have solved this so far, and this was first published in 1934. So look at my overconfidence that I got this book, and I don't know when I will, because every time I look at it I'm like, I'm intimidated, I can't do it right now, or it's like I don't have the time, my brain power, it's not up to the mark right now for me to use it on this. So it's been sitting there, but I will get to it someday. 6 murders, 100 pages, millions of possible combinations, but only one is correct. Can you solve Torquemada's murder mystery? Okay, cool. My novel is anyway not coming around. Might as well work on this one. Next was Your Utopia by Bora Chung. This is my first book by Bora Chung, and this book I was on the block tour for with Algonquin Books, but it somehow got delayed and everything got very confused, and I ended up reading it in March, but I wasn't able to post the review or anything, but I will be posting it soon to my Bookstagram. This is a collection of short stories which are a combination of science fiction and horror. Like, there are some things that are so tiny in the way they are horrifying that it might look like it's not a big deal when you're reading a book, but if they were to come true, you would be running away from it. It would be so terrifying, and these are stories that look into that. There's an AI wife, there's a Center for Immortality Research, and there are so much more. There are a couple of stories, I think, in the latter half that are just like, okay, what's going on? But the author redeems this whole thing in the last story, and by the end of it I was very grateful to have read it. Next one was an impulse pick, the other 2 were like, okay, cart value has to increase, otherwise no free shipping, and ordered them. But these are also books that I'm really excited to read. David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, and I actually borrowed this from the library, but then I realized that I'm going to be writing and annotating in it, so I wanted a copy of my own, even though I have a copy of it back in India. This is a story of David Copperfield, like how he goes from comfort to becoming poor, and then how he builds himself back up. And I have not been able to read much of this book. I started this in late February, if I'm not mistaken, and so far I've gotten through only 62 pages because I had to stop because there's this character called Murdstone who is one of the most detestable characters ever, and I was like, I need a break from this fellow and I'm not going to no. So I paused it. Second is An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. I will be very honest with you, the only reason I bought this book is because of that cover. I mean, look at it. Even now I'm looking at, like, it's a sapphic rivals to lovers, if I'm not mistaken. Deep in the forgotten hills of Massachusetts stands St. Perpetua's College, isolated and ancient. It is not a place for timid girls. Here, secrets are currency, ambition is lifeblood, and strange ceremonies welcome students into the fold. On her first day of class, Laura Sheridan is thrust into an intense academic rivalry with the beautiful and enigmatic Carmilla. Together, they are drawn into the confidence of the demanding poetry professor, De La Fontaine, who holds her own dark obsession with Carmilla. But as their rivalry blossoms into something far more delicious, Laura must confront her own strange hungers. Tangled in a sinister game of politics, bloodthirsty professors, and dark magic, Laura and Carmilla must decide how much they are willing to sacrifice in their ruthless pursuit of knowledge. Okay, I bought this for the cover, but that blurb sounds... And then came The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese, and this is set in Kerala, and this follows 3 generations of people after trying to find out more about a family secret or something. It says it is a stunning and magisterial epic of love, faith and medicine. I have heard so many good things about this book, and I think this was in the news last year for some reason or the other. I think it was chosen for some book club, I can't remember which. was it Oprah? But I think it was for the Oprah book club, and ever since then I was like, I wanted to read this book. Like, look at the colors of the cover, look at the story, look at that multi-generational saga of sorts, and I don't need much more convincing. So I was like, this is one book that I really wanted to read. Maybe I'll make a vlog for this book, but this is like 715 pages long, and oh my god, this intimidates the heck out of me, and I cannot believe that this and this, look at the size of this book, look at the size of this book, both are intimidating. Anywho, yeah, so that was the third book in that set. Next up was a book that I really wanted to read in March 2024, and I added it to my Drama Queen-a-thon TBR as well, but I never got around to reading it. Maybe it's for the best because I can now sit and read it leisurely, and I will take my time. All About Love by Bell Hooks. And in this book, Bell Hooks talks about love, not just as a romantic word, but in all its meanings, because there are different kinds of love that we experience in our lives, be it for our family, for love for a mother, for a father, for a brother, for a sibling, for a friend. There are different kinds of love, and in this, I think, if I remember correctly, that is what Bell Hooks takes us through in these essays. And next are two review copies that I received. First was Instruments of Torture by Aparna Sanyal, and I've done a rapid review for this book. If you'd like to go check that out, link will be here as well as in the description box below. And Instruments of Torture is such an amazing book. There's so much gravity, so much heaviness, in which the author pulls out the darkness of human nature and she puts it out there for us to see. And I loved the book, one of my favorites of 2024. It is going on that list. Surprisingly or unsurprisingly, Aparna Sanyal has become one of my auto-buy authors. And the second review copy was The Puppeteer, the second in the Panthers Ghost series by Ajit Menon and Anil Verma. And this is a story of bravery and patriotism and of all that. I haven't yet read the book, but I read the blurb and I was really intrigued, and I was like, yes, I'm going to read this one. And that is going to happen this month, and you will also be seeing a short review of this book on my channel, so stay tuned. Next were three more books that I ordered, and the first of that is The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. This is a book that I will be reading this month in April, and I really hope that comes true. This is a historical fiction in which November 1917, I think I've read this like multiple times so far, but you know my memory, and it doesn't harm anyone to read it again. So, in a world torn apart by war, a brother and sister fight to find each other. November 1917, Canadian soldier Freddie Even awakens after an explosion to find himself trapped under an overturned pillbox alongside an enemy soldier, a German. Against all odds, the two men dig their way out, but once in no man's land, they realize there is nowhere they can go where they won't be shot as deserters or enemy combatants. As the killing continues, they meet a man known as the Fiddler who seems to have the power to make the hellscape that surrounds them disappear. But at what price? Okay, so my question now that I've read this 3-4 times is that a brother and sister fight to find each other, but the blurb nowhere has the sister mentioned. I mean, what is going on? Groundbreaking concept. Read a book to find out what it is. Oh my god. Next is How to Kill Men and Get Away with It by Katie Brent, and this is the story of a woman who sees a man following her after she spurned him in a nightclub or something, and he is getting on her nerves or something, and then she ends up killing him. And now she has worked up an appetite for killing, and she is continuing to do it. This is a book that sounds so gory, but I've heard so many good things about this book that it all makes sense in the end. Like, the author has done a very good job of tying it up, and I am here for it. And then Your Heart is the Sea by Nikita Gill. I've read this book and I absolutely love it. There are some they're okay, cool, chill, cool. This book has some of my favorite poems from Nikita Gill ever. There are so many of those that my heart just beats faster as I think about them, and oh, cool. Anyway, so the next two books were sent to me by Pan Macmillan Australia. Thank you, Pan Mac Australia, for the review copies, for the gifted copies. The first of which is Black Wolf by Juan Gomez Jurado, and this is the second in the Antonia Scott series. I have requested for the first book from this series, which is called Red Queen, and I will be reading both of them in April. And this is a sort of a Spanish version of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, it is marketed as, and I am here for it. And basically this follows Antonia Scott, who is part of this whole Red Queen project in which they solve some of the most dangerous crimes ever. And the second book is The Antiques Hunter's Guide to Murder by C.L. Miller, and this I've started reading. I'm about 190 pages in, and I must say I am a little disappointed, but okay, let me stick it out till the very end and then decide what I think about this as a whole. But this is about Freya Lockwood, who has grown up in a quiet English village, but she has usually avoids that. But when her old mentor Arthur Crockleford, who was an antiques dealer, dies, she is pulled back over there. And now Arthur has set her and her eccentric aunt Carol, who was also his best friend, he sets them on this whole adventurous path, giving them clues to find out what has happened. There's a whole antiques retreat that he sends them to, and they have to unearth this whole big antiques ring. And in this retreat, all of the guests over there have something to hide, and there are strange things that are happening there, and now Freya and Carol must find out what exactly is going on. Almost 200 pages in, and I am not liking the writing style so far. It feels really clunky, it feels really forced. It's like the author was trying to be Agatha Christie but just fell short by a long margin. And last but not the least is another NetGalley arc, which was One by One by Frida McFadden. And this is an author I have never read before, and I know that she writes thrillers. I don't know if they are murder mystery thrillers, but she writes well acclaimed books, and I've seen a lot of people gush over it, and some people who I trust the reviews of. So when I saw this on NetGalley, I was like, okay, this is a good place to start and try out Frida McFadden's books. So I requested for it, and I was really pleasantly surprised when they approved me for it. Let me read what it is about. Oh, this was actually published in 2020. I think this is a republication of a new edition or something. One by one, they will get what they deserve. A night spent sleeping on dirt and leaves is not how Claire Matchett expected to spend her vacation. She thought this would be a break from the stresses of work and raising her young children. A chance to repair her damaged marriage. A week of hiking and hot tubs with 2 other couple friends. It sounded like heaven. Then Claire's minivan breaks down on a lonely dirt road. With no cell reception, the group has no choice but to hike the rest of the way to their hotel. But it turns out the woods aren't as easy to navigate as they thought. Hours later, they are lost. Hopelessly lost. And as they navigate deeper into the woods, the members of their party are struck down mysteriously one by one. Has a wild animal been hunting them, or is the hunter one of them? But as more time passes, one thing becomes clear. Only one of them will return home alive. Okay, that was totally not what I was expecting, but it sounds so good, and I hope that the book lives up to it as well. Okay. So those plus the ebooks that I've mentioned so far, that's the best I can do really, were the books that I've bought since my last book haul in December 2023. Okay, so which of these books have you read? Which ones do you want to read? What books have you bought recently? Which books are you really excited for? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. This is a strange position to be sitting in, by the way. Okay. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.